Hello there, you're watching The Pulse on the JoyNews channel. We are doing a special focus on the story that has got the whole of the country talking. It's about the military brutalities in the Ashaiman constituency. This afternoon, friends, family and loved ones have gathered as, of course, the slain Sogah Isaac Imoro has been laid to rest. But issues surrounding his death and the alleged cases of military brutalities are not over, as CHRAJ is condemning the act by the military, with residents mounting pressure for some settlements. We'll delve deeper into the matter and also give you the latest as to what's happening as we speak in the Ashaiman communities, all coming up here on The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignity Lua for Double Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144. I'm blessed Sogah. Welcome to the program. We're back with the details shortly. Please stay. Well, we start off, as I was indicating, from the Ashaiman community, just as we have it, pictures from the community today. The slain soldier at the center of the military brutalities has been laid to rest. The 22-year-old is Imoro, who was a military serviceman from Sunyani, of course, has been laid to rest. But matters relating to his death are yet to be settled. On your screens right now are images from the funeral that took place earlier today. But my colleague Maxwell Aguba was there and now reports.
Bema camp. Okay. So when we got to Bema camp, they were training us. They were training us for some time before they called us for interview. And moreover, to the high-ranking military people over there weren't allowing them to touch us. But when they try to touch us, they don't let them see that they are touching us. Yeah, that's when they will start to beat you if the high-ranking people, high-ranking military men are not looking at us. That's where they try to beat us.
You also have marks on your body?
Yeah, I do have marks on.
Let me see that. Whoa. Wait, what caused this? What did they use to beat you?
Any weapon they having on their hands. Others were using rope.
Oh no! No. Well, yeah, I know. He still have some bruises behind him, but we can't show that on TV.
They were using
These are assault marks behind you.
Yes, sir.
What kind of weapons?
Others were using neem tree branches and cables, PVC pipes, and all types of things that they are holding.
So when were you released? Were you released on the same day?
Yeah, I was released on the same day around 11 p.m. as my college friend said it.
So you were also only in boxer shorts?
Yes.
No singlet or anything?
No dress.
And they dropped you at what?
Ashaiman runabout.
He has marks all over his body. Let me see. So this is his leg. This is the exact spot where the 21-year-old Sheriff Imoro fell. Residents here tell me that they discovered the body here early in the morning. We're told that he had run from a distance of about 300 meters after he was stabbed, but couldn't continue with his journey and then fell right here. And this is the point where the community people discovered the body. I've been speaking to some of the residents, and one of the people I've been speaking to is Beatrice Pochu. Beatrice Pochu's husband was forcibly taken away by the military after he stepped out to attend to a call of nature. Beatrice Pochu tells me that she only realized when she came out and saw her husband's slippers and toothbrush outside their home. She says her husband is the breadwinner of the family, and now that he's been taken away, she's not heard from him since Tuesday. She says their child, a little girl, is unwell, but she's unable to take her to the hospital because she does not have the money.
So, and any 3 days, I'm with me kunu Friday night, I'm see a can I make kunu near around or sorry or by Saturday 2 o'clock.
Okay, well, she says that the incident happened on Friday. Friday when the incident happened, her husband was not at home. He had gone to church and then returned on Saturday, we say.
Saturday 2 o'clock, no by.
Saturday 2 o'clock, no by. Came back home at Saturday 2 o'clock in the morning, Anopana area. Saturday in the afternoon, okay.
Tuesday night, 7 see and no pono, nim say, baby, because we are wanting to all private, and I'm watching or into the pop up, Hannah, me be honing, pop, and I'm me brush or the PC we are wanting.
He says, well, she says on Tuesday when the military stormed this community, her husband had stepped out to attend to nature's call. At the point when he stepped out, that was when he was picked up by the military. She says she came out and then saw the toothbrush that he was using outside, right outside, and then his slippers also outside here. And see, from Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, what's the one thing?
Like one frame is to 3 days near Akolanu Pony home fan. 3 days near, on no Coban Sana ye did. 3 days near me and did Minis Council Media Akolani Beko Hospital.
Oh, she's very distressed. She says that since the husband was picked up by the military on Tuesday, she's not heard anything from him. She says that her child is sick. She's unable to take the little girl to the hospital because she does not have money to do that. And since Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Obiantin and Kai, one more and your morning, I become someone in
Patcho Musomuhun, Banan Casano, their own frame, but maybe some cofona mobile, or Mukohon mobile, and dear Musomuhun, I'm an 9 poor pra, ni Simbaku, ni Hase Ahunon, Timin, and Papa.
Well, she says personally she's not heard anything from her husband, but she says for those who were with him, who were arrested together with him, they said they saw him with a swollen cheek and also injured, has a leg injury also, but she has not heard anything, from the husband.
Like Miniska. Minye Juma Miniska, no Coban Sana, the Bibianiho. Fitianopa mean didi, 3 days near mean didi. Or come with me, but Miniska made it. On like what Niho Hachan American son of Mamiska made it. Minio Pia. This or no Coban Sana ye didi. No Hushi, Omunjano non brefi. On Unabesha, one bar, Minyaska Fan Colanico Hospital.
David Kemi is a former teacher. He has a deep cut on his head. And then he also has some assault marks at his back. He says the soldiers who meted out those beatings to them must be made to face the full rigors of the law. He says many of the residents here are innocent and had no idea about what happened to the slain soldier.
Somewhere 4 o'clock, I opened my gate. When I opened the gate, I saw the armor car under the shade of the tree, just at the back of the shade of the tree, and the one commando here, standing here, and he used the gun on me. So asked me to come. So I thought he needed an information. But then I was my boxer. I did not wear anything. So when I came, he just asked me to go closer. But then the water was on the ground. So when I was there, before I could realize, about 3 of his team came around and started slapping me, and then they asked me to roll on the ground. In the process, I saw a woman. There's a market closer here, Ashaiman market. The woman also was going to the market. They asked her to put things down, and she asked her to join me. As an elderly woman, a man who was traveling by then, they asked him, and because the man was not responding, they started beating him. So we were beating the 3 of us. And then they asked her to do pressure. In the process, then they marched out to the junction. Before I could realize, I see the bigger armor car with about over 100 commandos armed with the various, tools. I mean, stick, iron rod, or what have you. So about 100. So they started beating us. In fact, I received about over 50 again because they come on rotation. This person will beat you, another person will follow up. The stick, the various cane to beat under your foot, on your buttocks, at the back, on your head. But this cut is from the belt. The belt that the man lose the belt and they hit it, and I was trying to parade it, and I had a cut.
Is this his belt?
I don't.
You were trying to use his belt on your head?
Yeah, the belt, there's a metal on the belt. There's a metal. So they started beating up from 4:30 to 6 o'clock.
Goswe Kumakil is one of the organizers of a press conference calling for justice and punishment for the perpetrators of Tuesday's brutality. Goswe tells me that he was beaten in this neighborhood and then taken to Michelle Camp and then later to Burma Camp, where they were subjected to another round of beatings. He says they were left around 11:30 p.m. and they came back home in their boxer shorts. He has been narrating the harrowing situation. He has been narrating his ordeal to me.
People were naked in clothes, nothing was on them. We were beaten excessively to the extent that it was 8 a.m. When they brought their car, took us to military Michelle Camp. We were detained at Michelle Camp for about 3 to 4 hours. When they went for another operation at Ashaiman Tulaku and brought another suspect of about 100 and something to join us. So with that, they said, oh, then their head office, the big men at the high hierarchy hut wants to have an interrogation with that at Burma Camp. With that, they came for us from the military Michelle Camp to Burma Camp in an hours of 4 p.m. So we went to Burma Camp from 4 p.m. At Burma Camp, we were drilled.
So the first place you were taken to was Michelle Camp.
Michelle Camp.
And then from Michelle Camp, you were taken to Burma Camp.
We were taken to Burma Camp, where the military police were and the investigation was done. While the investigation are done, we were beaten by the military men that are there. That while they are hurt, their friend was asking for help. We, the community, did not give them help. And so far with that also, they said we Ashaiman people are on hot social media platform saying that soldiers are nothing to do with us. But we, some people, have nothing to do with social media. So we, some of us who have been victimized, are really innocent of this victim, and we know nothing about this.
So at Burma Camp, what happened at Burma Camp? Were you subjected to further beatings?
Oh, we are beaten totally. We were beaten. You roll on the floor. You eat like a dog on the floor. They'll stamp on you.
Wait, what were you eating on the floor?
You know, like a friend will hold you like this. Eh? Let me show you. Oh, bugger. Like you sleep like this. Like this. You'll be like this. Then one person will hold your leg. Then you'll be like this. Like this. Then you do okay. So we did this for over 3 to 4 hours. After this exercise, you will roll on the floor. You roll on to excessively that their watchdogs will be following you. When you are in this coordination and you want to have a nature score living, they said 1 second, 2 seconds, which is not good because we are human beings and we have our rights to speak for ourselves, and we want justice to prevail. So thank you very much.
At what time did they leave you?
Well, they left us around 10:30 that way.
Okay.
And they took us from official town, but bringing us home, they left us at Timber Market with only a boxer short and no tops.
Wait, when you were going, were you wearing a shirt?
We were picked up from official town with no top.
You're not allowed to wear anything?
We are not allowed to wear dress. We were bare-chested like my gentleman, but with only boxer shorts. From here to Michelle Camp to Burma Camp. In bringing us back, we were left at Timber Market, the runabout, naked like that, for us to come back to our residence, which is not good.
Another resident, Mauto Dupe, who says he was also beaten by the soldiers, says justice must be served, and it must be served now.
It's unfair. It's unfair. Look at me. Did I have the courage to beat a military man? Look at me very well. Am I so fit and beat a military man or kill a military man? Even Even when I want to kill a fowl, I feel pity to kill a cow. A fowl. Why is all this? We want justice. Justice, those who are from I mean, whatever they are, come down here and do this kind of unnecessary things. They have to bring them to book. It's not good at all. Eh? Where is the human right? The human right that we are talking about every day. Even the government itself, is talking about human right. Where is our right? Where is our right right now? You see?
Well, you may want to call it the unfortunate incident that transpired within the Ashaiman constituency. I want to bring in now former Deputy Attorney General Joseph Din-Yokpenka. Thank you, sir, for your time here on The Pulse. Already we are seeing the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice condemn this act. The Commissioner speaking to me last night on the sidelines of the Ghana-EU dialogue, indicating clearly that this is unacceptable. Do you agree?
My brother, good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and good afternoon to your good self. I do agree with the assessment that it is unacceptable, especially considering the fact that we gave this type of conduct a decent burial as Ghanaians on the 7th of January 1993. I think that such conducts, we have actually as a people agreed to put them behind us and move forward as a nation. And my brother, just briefly, so we put ourselves in context. Let's look at Article 15 of our Constitution, and that will give us a guide. Article 15 of our Constitution, 1992, says that the dignity of all persons shall be inviolate. No person shall, whether or not he is arrested, restricted, or detained, be subjected to torture or other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, and any other condition that detracts or is likely to detract from his dignity and worth as a human being. So clearly, the Constitution itself, Article 15, is categorical that whether or not you have arrested the person for committing an offense, you should not subject the person to such inhuman and degrading treatment to detract the person from his humanity. So it is a constitutional matter you are dealing with here, under specifically the Fundamental Human Rights and Freedom section, Chapter 5 of our Constitution. So preliminarily, I will say that I agree totally with the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice to the extent that the Act itself is clearly unconstitutional and an affront to the dignity and integrity of the persons who were so molested and treated to that extent. So clearly, I do agree with him, and I want to say also that the Commission, if it so desires to look into the matter, is clothed with the powers to do so, specifically under Section 71A and 13A of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Act 1993, Act 456. So the Commission has the right to make an inquiry into whatever happened, and I think that we need to, as a people, take a decision and act decisively to avert the recurrence of such events that we had agreed in totality to have them set aside perpetually on the 7th of January 1993.
And you've seen the statement from the military, for instance, indicating their position on this matter. They say that this was an intelligence-led exercise, and the operation led to the discovery of some materials believed to be Indian hemp, for instance. So it was an anti-criminal raid, if we may target as such. Will there be an opening in the law for the military to do that?
Well, I can say again that the military could have gone about their duty to effect the arrest without the inhumane treatment that were meted out to some of the residents. I say this because, see, the only time that the military is called in to act and act decisively is when the police are unable to perform their duties because there's an escalating situation in the circumstances. You know that internal security is squarely within the ambit of the police. It is only when the police most times are unable to act because the situation has escalated to a certain level that they call in the military to come in and quell it. Otherwise, their duty is to defend us against external aggression only. So I have not been told that the police indicated that they were unable to handle the issue as it were, and they invited the military in. If I were told this, then I would to some extent buy into the idea that the action was actually lawful. But once I am not privy to any clue at all that the police indicated that they were unable to bring peace to the community, or they were unable to effect arrest, or arrest was being resisted, and as a result called in the military, I will, as of now, stick to the constitutional position that whatever it is, the conduct was far-fetched and ought not to have been carried out, especially so when there had not been any indication that the police were unable to perform their functions in that respect.
And we know that there are a number of avenues for these residents to use, but no sort of action ever since this incident occurred. I guess it's because the military is the one carrying out the exercise. Because, for instance, we have the military police taking custody of some 180 persons or so, or less. And yet the Ghana Police Service is not able to issue a statement on what the next steps would be. All of these persons in, if you want to call it, unlawful detention. What's your take on the remedial measures that individuals who have their rights abused, what do you feel that they could take advantage of in the law? If you can hear me, sir, I was just asking for the remedies that...
Lawyers will have to proceed immediately if those who are actually to court. Yes, that's what I'm just addressing. Lawyers can file habeas corpus in a court. In other words, they will file a process in the High Court asking the High Court to compel the police to disclose, to produce the persons who are being detained and to explain the reasons for their detention. Because remember also that there's a constitutional injunction that those persons cannot be kept for more than 48 hours. And so if after 48 hours they have not been put before court, lawyers contacted by those people who are being detained can file a habeas corpus process in the High Court for the police to produce them and show cause why they should not be freed and why they are being kept in custody, failing which the court will have to discharge them until the appropriate things are being done. But as I have indicated earlier, whatever the situation is, you can't effect arrest without meting out the type of brutality, because I can see some of the horrifying pictures on your videos respecting some of the persons who were actually assaulted and brutalized by the military. So I will say again, and that without a shadow of doubt, that actions need to be taken by court to vindicate the rights of the people who are being detained. Because remember that in constitutional democracy such as ours, it is the rule of law and not the rule of the mighty. And so if we have to go by the constitutional dictates in Chapter 5 of our Constitution, which we actually as a people crafted them based on our history, then I think that it is time for us to test some of these actions in court. And remember that even the people are not, will not be wrong if they were to take a class action against the military in the state for the abuses that were meted out to them.
But what could happen? For instance, the military would not be willing to give out the names of individuals who went on that operation. So if this matter even goes to court, what would be the respite for those who have had their rights abused?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't become the responsibility of the individual soldiers who did the abuse. It becomes then the responsibility of the Ghana Armed Forces and then the responsibility of the state. Remember that the state is enjoined by law to protect the rights of individuals. And so if the state acts in a manner through its agents that abuses the rights of the citizens, then the citizens have a cause of action against the state. You remember that in the Ashanti region a year or two ago, when some people were suspected to be armed robbers and shot dead, and later it was found out not to be the case, they were actually compensated by the government to ensure that those people who were killed, their relatives, had some level of compensation. So, as I said, it is the state that individuals will now be targeted because those people who acted in the name of the armed forces and the state.
Well, you've served at the Ministry of Justice. What's your expectation from the Attorney General, given the fact that he controls the ministry?
Well, again, here the Attorney General, remember that he has the right, squarely under Article 88, he's the only one who initiates process. In this particular case, one will expect, and I know he will act decisively and advise the armed forces and the government as to the remedies that are available to the affected victims and possibly suggest ways by which compensation could be paid to these individuals to help ameliorate their suffering and put this issue to rest. It is a slur and a blunt in our march towards consolidating our human rights engaged, and we need to do everything possible so that such things do not recur. First of all, we have to sympathize with the family of the deceased soldier, and we have to commiserate with the family of the deceased soldier and condemn whoever was involved in the act of killing the soldier. But the reprisal attacks that knew no bounds and touched so many innocent people ought to be looked at and expeditiously dealt with for us to deepen our democracy as a nation.
And finally, going forward, what sort of mechanisms should we be framing to forestall some of these happening?
Yes, you see, I was, at the beginning, when I heard it, I thought that it was maybe a few overzealous members of the military that heard of the issue and went and invaded the committee and did what happened. But it looks like from the release that was made, there's an official sanction and etc. And so I think that as a people, it will not even be far-fetched if we put in place a commission of inquiry to look at the matter so that they can make recommendations to forestall future occurrences of matters related to this. Because if we just, even for now, do pay some compensation to the victims and the matter ends there, could we not be having it recurring in future? And if we have a commission of inquiry look at this matter and make recommendations to government as to what could happen to forestall future occurrences such as this, I think it will serve as a guide and it will actually deepen our democracy the more and take our human rights fight to another level.
I'm grateful for your time and for spending some time with us here on The Pulse. That's Joseph Didiok, former Deputy Attorney General. Well, last night I caught up with the Commissioner for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and I asked him what his thoughts were about this incident.
Township that, because of their person's interest, they come take over the law and do what they want. But we are coming out with our statement. I want my statement to speak for me.
But do you condemn the acts because the military?
I completely condemn it. I completely condemn it. That is, it's degrading, dehumanizing and degrading treatment to put such persons who are going to their work, arrest them, make them do press-ups in mud, sitting down with all their clothing removed, apart from some briefs, is completely unacceptable. And that this is exacted by the army of Ghana is completely unacceptable. Any defense of it by any leadership of the military is certainly a misplaced, support. We need to call what is wrong, wrong. And this is completely wrong.
Would you want to urge for calm in the community because there are fears that there may be reprisals?
Yes, of course. The military still have weapons that they can always apply. So the society, the community of Ashaiman should hold themselves and allow lawful bodies like the Ghana police and others to investigate and take the right steps. CHRAJ and others, when called upon, will also undertake the necessary, because we are the ombudsman and we can investigate military issues. When the military go beyond their normal duty and it affects the rights of people, we can't hold them accountable.
In this case, you do that?
It has to be on the basis of a complaint.
and the position of the commission there. But just to place this into context, of course, the military had indicated earlier that this was an intelligence-led operation. A lot has been unfolding in Parliament, but here are excerpts of what it is that the military had to say about the swoop in Ashaiman, indicating that categorically the military operation was sanctioned by the military high command and was not to avenge the killing of the soldier, but rather to fish out the perpetrators of the heinous crime. Well, in Parliament, just before we get there, the military further indicated that, of course, they picked up about 184 suspects aged between 21 and 47 years old and have since handed over these individuals to the military police. They are indicating also that they will be subsequently sent to the Ghana Police Service for screening and for further action on this. Beyond that, the personnel seized some 29 slabs and 57 mini slabs suspected to be Indian hemp and amnesia, amongst other forms of narcotics. The swoop was not targeted, according to the military, at innocent civilians, but was conducted on suspected hideouts of criminals and crime-prone areas in the general area. For now, we know that the police says that some of the innocent persons might have been caught up in that operation and consequently suffered some distress due to the location they found themselves. The Ghana Armed Forces is urging the general public to provide useful information to support the security agencies in weeding out criminals and miscreants from that area. The Defence Minister and Bruce Derry has been to Parliament. He's been explaining circumstances leading to the attack and what's being done about it.
It do happen. We are shaping up a country, and we are going to have some of these incidents, regrettable incidences happening there. But I will still appeal to the people of Ghana to be very respectful of people in uniform. It will help all of us. But we cannot say, I will not say anything until the committee itself and us have gone on Thursday to the place and visited the place to ascertain for ourselves. One of the reasons why we are not going immediately is that investigation is still ongoing. We don't want to compromise whatever investigation that will happen. And that's why we task our colleagues to tone down on the statement so that we can all work together as unison to ensure that this tricky situation is brought under control. We want a peaceful Ghana, that's all. So after Thursday, you will be hearing from us. Thank you very much.
So that's Dominic Nitu giving us an update on what will be done about this. But from Parliament, the Committee on Interior and Defence has also been stating its position on the matter. Let's listen to Kennedy Ejapon, who's the chair of the committee.
Met and we've come to an agreement that the members of the committee, the Minister of Defence and the Military High Command will pay a visit on Thursday to Ashaiman to dialogue with the people of Ashaiman as well as the Military High Command. So for the meantime, we pleaded with our honorable member from Ashaiman. I don't wish to be in his shoes. Normally he's very loud on the committee, but today what accounts will say, Bema Emre. He's so worried. I haven't seen him so down like this before, which means it has taken a toll on him and we all sympathize with him. On behalf of the committee, we want to sympathize with the bereaved, the young soldier's family, and also sympathize with the affected victims, those who were innocently beaten. They were not part of it, but unfortunately they got to a scene where they were not supposed to be. Or even I heard some of them were in their various homes and they came out and beat them. I think we all have to admit as human beings that there were excesses, and therefore we sympathize with the people of Ashaiman. At the same time, We also sympathize with the Ghana Armed Forces for our young men taking the law into their own hands to kill one of theirs. But a situation like this, all we can say is that we need peace. We, as members of the committee, cannot inflame passions by going there to make comments that will annoy a faction. We are not to do that. Our mission is to make sure we have peace in this country. The unfortunate incident that happened, we have all condemned it. And Minister has even apologized on behalf of the military that they admit that they were excesses. So we are here.
Well, so we do know that certainly by Thursday there'll be some action on this from the Parliamentary Committee. Let's get to the breakdown in terms of what we've been tracking so far, dating back all the way to 2017 on key incidents in which the military was accused of brutalities. And it starts off from February 7, where, of course, 4 died after a joint military police task force allegedly opened fire in a crowd at Fonsi in the Chumakoma area. The reason, obviously, was that they were protesting against the siting of the Chumakoma district capital, actually, instead of Fonsi. Then, fast forward to May 30 of 2017, we heard of that unfortunate incident as well, the murder of that slain soldier, Major Maximo Mahama, was part of the military troops that, of course, were stationed in Dentra Boise. But, of course, when the military heard of the incident, they stormed and punished the villagers in the community. In April of the same year, a 28-year-old man was shot dead in the Ashaiman community again, where this incident is happening. It happened around the market, and it was part of the enforcement of the COVID-19 lockdown protocols. Fast forward into July of that same year, the armed soldiers raided 5 homes in Honta in the Ho West district, and they were obviously accused of hosting some Togolese contracted to take some exercises in the Volta region, a reason for which the soldiers raided the home of the residents of Ho West. So that's it in 2017. But in June of 2021, a joint team of police and military officers declared residents of Ejira. That incident that led to the setup of the Ejira committee by the Interior Ministry. Of course, that incident led to the unfortunate death of 2 individuals. 9 persons were injured, and it was all over the protest of killing of some social activist known as Ibrahim Mohammed Kaka, who was part of the Fix the Country movement. Then in July of that same year, 86 soldiers in Wa stormed Tindama and brutalized some residents of the area. The allegation was that there was simply over the theft of a smartphone, and that's why, of course, we had the 86 soldiers in Wa storming the Tindana area and brutalizing individuals. The latest that we can all recall has got to do with the happenings in parts of the eastern region, the Lower Manyakrobo municipality, and the issues of the installation of prepaid meters subject to residents who refused to accept the metering system. And of course, they subjected the residents to some beatings, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, of course, we heard from their management supporting that exercise, which led to some controversies and, in fact, clashes between residents of the area and, of course, the military contingent that was deployed to carry out the exercise with the ECG officials. So these are some of the cases that we do know of, and we'll be back with more on this. Stay with us here on the JoyNews channel. You're watching The Pulse. We'll be right back. Let's bring in now Richard Kumado, who is a security analyst. For those of you who have not been following, of course, this slain soldier, 22-year-old Imoro, who worked with the Ghana Armed Forces, has been laid to rest. We'll be getting to that shortly. But Richard Kumado is a security analyst joining us on the list of cases of military brutalities that we've just brought to you so far. Richard, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. So you've seen as many as 10, of course, as I can count them, dating back to 2017. And it appears that the incidents are still recurring in spite of, for instance, the recommendations that were made by the CHRAJ committee. So why is this not ending?
Actually, it's not ending because of two things. In pure crime prevention and in security management, there are two things involved. Non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. The 10 you have counted, particularly the Ashaiman case, two of these ones played out there. Lack of circumspection and high-handedness of the military show the level of brutalization and the molestation of civilians. Then again, why would there not be rationalization of bad behavior? Because they have been to Nkranza, they have been to CHRAJ, they have been to Tamale, they have been to Boku, they have been at so many places, and nobody took responsibility for their incircumspection and lack of prudence. And this is what is promoting the impunity and lack of discipline that has entered the Ghana Armed Forces and the rate at which they take the law into their own hands.
Okay, Richard Kumado, thank you for your time. But going forward, would you equally want to see a commission set up on this?
For where a reasonable lawyer who is capable in human rights to take up this case to ICC or to the Hague or to the Supreme Court, since our recommendations from our commissions have not yielded any meaningful fruit. That small boy in CHRAJ who has been shot because he was going to buy medicine from the pharmacist, who is taking care of that boy. And let us begin to act properly. My only fear is that it shouldn't just be a commission of inquiry, but let somebody take up these cases and take it up to the Hague or to the ICC, where military men abuse civilians who are not combatants. And that is against the rules of engagement for every serious and professional lawyer. And I think that level of impunity and lack of intelligence when it comes to military brutalization is becoming something else.
Richard Kumado, thank you for your time. Let's, of course, cross you over now to Pram Pram, the candidate in the run-up to, of course, the NDC's presidential race. Dr. Kwabena, before then, you're short. He's on a regional tour here in Greater Accra. Let's listen in.
If you say, you because who said, you get the Brazil. Now, we share party and be here. I dream you about Ashaiman was a proud quite with the other issue. And so, for Bonswa, maybe I must say between me. I'm a bread until okay. I'm saying, yeah, you can't basically. I am where I'm away. And I want to buy maybe a mama bread, papa. Everybody. No bigger can be sending me. What's on pay? Aren't Mwano, the one sounds on pay. What's no wool? And the buyer, the sea. Kamu Ghana, I did. I said, that's your muye. A couple more, a baby. I want to muye. Abaha. Be my home. Mupe. Ubenya muye. That a bar. Kakra. Osu biara mo de biara no. Amode bi to ase mo de kede wo haifa bo kan say. Mo da hwe boyi mo de very. Alpha. Eti chairman. okay, yeah, review. Secretary, okay, yeah, review. If you are passionate, you show me a my friend is my show me a cat. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm the best. That's how they know. What's my prayer? Eh? No, one minute, your media, scallop oil over. I'm buying Mofrano bread. The boy. Empty. Ubia Kamu. Like Omano in your year. I had no say. I didn't have a palace and swab for that. And society. The boy. Society. Produce flooded. And flooding has a the way. A bit boy in your tumia. A bit hujuma. The annual flooding issues, challenges will be handled when we come back to power. Because my Maya was party, or my now they shall be said to me by a side and leave you or my the party to a friend. If say any pain, you got no style, man, gonna hear crab the boy. Now you wait you a baby. Make me yourself you inflation about the phone. This is my same fear you percent and no boy. Let me be every on one. God of a parent of a friend, God of that prosperous again. First year, no inflation, local form. First year, no city. Let's ask sorry you. First year, no economy, no. But you have what they pass you. And the stability. The first year, no, we stabilize the economy. Second year, no, you bet too many capable. I didn't see that Obasa Gala. Na a moon, Yakra. A general year of the Yakra. And this is tomatoes, a free. Okina. Obi o tisi so. Ina beti kwa yi. Ona ma gari. Edi etra. Adwoboni empanifo no momoe. Na adai ene ekra gari le adi oban mu. Inya tumia emu ya gra bi o tom. Tomatoes yan gra. Yediani ya diano enwa de bedu yana o ma kase pa onye me sha yo bibia ebre mi kwadi kan o si uska it is cause the comedy here ampa yo discuss pa Yetiskasopa. How did I come here? How did I come here? You see, everything back. Now everything back. If you pepe. Gotta put number 3. If soon. If you soon of the soon. A bigger pay home. I will have one, and we are coming before. Now, a Juma Bebu, so they come. Aha, Cassia Day. You go from Cassia Day. We will say urbanization. And see again. I am aha. Etabefe. ufiri kina para kuma efe kwa na ade enti sapa eba ma mi go papra mo eba mo tso on bien kamu memba sabda show biso da pasa mi tsene aye ahun ba sim na beba if say odi pade so wa hon ba sia munya meso ama mo ni ani yansa na homa so bi no enye ida so ni nyano o so ma ma ade ye ga na ni ana o so pai.
Well, Dr. Adefo, in your shorts there, of course, it's as part of his Greater Accra regional tour. He's promising to fix the economy within a space of 2 years. And so those are aspects of his tour in Prampam. We'll be watching out that space and bringing you some updates. But don't forget that the race is also heating up at the parliamentary level. We know the Domi-Kwabenya area to be NPP dominant, but there's one man seeking to change that narrative and to put the NDC flag right at the heart of that constituency. Let's speak to Israel Susuli, and he's seeking to go into that race by, first of all, gaining the support of the delegates within the Domi-Kwabenya constituency as the parliamentary candidate, and then he's sure that victory will come in 2024.
Right.
Israel, welcome to the polls, and it's good to see you appear here on the show. Let's start off with the area in which you are, Domi-Kwabenya, subject to a lot of controversies. Let's move away from the controversies and let's look at your chances, because without the controversies, we do know that that appears to be a safe haven for the New Patriotic Party. Are you aware of these challenges ahead?
Yes, we're very aware of the challenges, and that's the reason we're stepping foot in here. It appears to be a safe haven for them, but not anymore.
Really?
Yes. 2019, we stepped foot into this race. I contested in 2019. Somebody else led. We all supported. We had to play our roles, individual roles. It's a process, you know.
But you supported in 2019?
Yes, everything we are doing is in support of the NDC to snatch the seat from this incompetent NPP government. Domi-Kwabenya happens to be the largest constituency in the country, and then we've also had our fair share of the mismanagement of the country. So we feel it's even harder than people in other areas, because you would expect that when it comes to infrastructure, you know, people-centered developmental projects, you expect that we have a very good share, but Domi-Kwabenya is
explain that to me. When you say you've had your fair share of the mismanagement,
we've had our
are you referring to individuals here?
Individuals, I'm talking about the country at large.
Yeah, but obviously you're throwing shades at some individuals.
No, that's why we're here in a way, because otherwise why would we want to contest? We think that there's something we can do to change the narrative. Come to Domi-Kwabenya and talk about infrastructure. If my memory serves me right, everything we have seen in terms of infrastructural development has happened during the NDC tenure. Talk about the school we have there. Let's go to education. You talk about the schools and the trees we're trying to convert and the GET fund. You go to Kwabenya, it's there. When we left, it was abandoned. It's still there the way we left it. You go to Musuku, it is there. You go to Agbogba, it is there. You go to Ablaje. When you come to the secondary school, there's only one at the moment. Who built it? John Mahama and the NDC. When you come to roads, I mean, if anybody who lives in Domi-Kwabenya is listening now, you know that there's nothing to write home about. You know, so all the roads that have been fixed in Domi-Kwabenya happened in the previous administration. So we have been under this NPP government for over 7 years, and election is just around the corner, and suddenly they are touching some parts on the Agbogba stretch. It's just election gimmicks. It's not going to be completed.
But if you've done all of these things, why is the constituency failing to reward you with a parliamentary seat?
Well, it's not the constituency that's failing to reward us with the parliamentary seats. There are a number of things that come to play when it comes to this. Even how we organize ourselves as a political party also plays a role. Right. And from 2019, we've made concerted efforts to organize ourselves in this regard. If you observed the primaries in 2019, you realize that it was a heated race, very well organized. All of it was to charge the base. We did what we had to do. I'm not about to put strategies right here on air. And then you see that a reflection of that in the results we received, we got in 2019. 2019, NDC pulled 52,000. MPP pulled 75,000. But still, there was another 46,000 that didn't come to vote. The job now is to look for that 46,000.
Okay. You must first cross the imminent line, which is the internal exercise. You're coming up against some other people, correct?
Yes.
What are your chances? What do you bring on board? And are you really known within the Dominic constituency?
Yes, I'm really known in the Dominic constituency because I told you I contested in 2019 and lost marginally. But since we have been in the constituency, I have supported up to now. You know, elections are not events. They are actually a series of activities. It's a process. So we've been around the constituency, you know, supporting the process, putting in place measures that would give us the opportunity to move in the next election. To answer the question as to who I'm coming up against, the picking of the forms was done online.
Okay.
So you will not be able to tell who's coming up now, you know, until the party...
a fair competition?
Yes,
you agree?
I agree.
So anyone at all moves around to say, well, I'm contesting?
Yes, okay, so I've seen...
Some names?
Some names on our platform.
What's the number you estimate?
So currently I've only seen about 3 of us going round.
And that will make it 4 in all?
No, 3 of us going round.
Right. Yeah. So if 3 of you are going in for this, that's going to be very competitive.
Yes.
Many say that you're all doing this because you feel the NPP has its own challenges, but by increasing competition, you may be complicating your chances of winning or coming close to winning the seat in the Dominic area.
So I do not think that having 3 people contest would decrease our chances. Okay. Rather, it would strengthen the base, because every activity that we're having now leading to the election is to strengthen the base. I'm going around organizing branches, telling them what they need to do ahead of election 2024. My other colleagues are doing same. What are we doing? Every time there's activity in the... So at the end of the day, there will be one winner.
What's your priority?
Rally behind.
What will be top on the agenda for you, for party members, and then we'll talk next about the constituency?
Yes, for party members as delegates, there are a number of issues we have identified. You say the area is a safe haven, and I'm telling you that there are things we need to do. The party people have had 4 years to taste and see the difference. I've moved with the people in terms of organization. I've been in corporate for a bit of time, and I understand that I don't need to like you to work with you. Work is work. We all have a goal. We have an agenda. So regardless of who you are or whether you supported me in primaries or not, we would have to work together. And I also believe that people need to be resourced in terms of training and getting people to understand why they are there. So we have executives, just like in any field where you employ people, you need to give them some orientation. So we started by undertaking some orientation program, first for the constituency executives who were just elected, then moved on to the ward coordinators, trickled down to the branch executives, so everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, limiting the friction that used to be. We put plans in place. We're moving a series of activities, some of which, if I speak about now, is strategy you're letting out of the bag.
Internal matters, you want to keep them to your chest.
I think that overall, we are very ready to take these seats.
Okay, but then the bigger picture about the constituency itself. What's the biggest problem you identify within Dominic now, and how do you intend to solve it?
So the issue is that that's a very difficult question to answer, because almost everything in the place is problematic. I've talked about the area of education. I've talked about roads. Youth unemployment in Dominic is very high. And like I mentioned to you, we are the largest constituency in the whole of the country. So whatever pinch you're feeling, we're feeling it times 10, times 20, times 30. There are young people who need programs that would help them. You know, as a candidate who's hoping to lead the people, you know, your vision will not be very different from that of the political party you're supporting. And as NDC, a Social Democratic Party, you know that our job is to create or make life better for the masses, and that's what you're thinking of doing. So looking at even our last manifesto, there were things that covered everybody. The big push was there. We talked about it some way, somehow.
Okay, so you're seeking to sort of decentralize the vision of the party down to the area.
That's the job of the MP. Your job is not to sit on air and promise what you're not mandated to do. Right. Your job is to help coordinate, ensure that things are done right. So you're playing the role of a coordinator here, where you need to be present. And that's one of the things we are lacking as a constituency today, where our MP is not present.
Do you know Sarah Jasafo?
I've met Sarah Jasafo. I've seen her, mostly on TV.
Oh, mostly on TV?
For the wrong reasons.
Do you have any comments to make on that?
On Sarah Jasafo?
Yeah.
Well, I think she has played a role, and it's about time she takes a bow. It's the time for the NDC to show the people of Dominicana what leadership is.
If she comes back, how do you intend to match up to the numbers? Because she's been, of course, touting her numbers, how she's been able to deliver the biggest electoral victory to the outgoing president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That will be a big challenge for you.
So Ajosafo was in an election the last time, and then you saw the numbers she got. I don't think she'll be touting that number.
Yeah, but it was still the biggest for the NPP.
Yeah, it was still the biggest for the NPP, and then very soon that will be the biggest for the NDC. So Sarah can come, but even in their own party, when you're listening to all the names that are coming up now, you're seeing some males coming up. I don't know what is happening in there, but we are preparing as a party to fight against the MPP in the Dominicana constituency, and not any individual.
Okay, so if Israel Sosoli does not get the nod, you've heard of two other names, because you've just indicated to me that there are three of you in all. Do you have anyone else in mind?
So anyone else in mind? You see, in the unlikely event that Israel doesn't make it this time around, I am a party person, an ardent supporter of the party. My job is to help my party. With respect to answer the question, if I have any other person in mind, the one that comes to mind is still Israel.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's really unlikely. Now I get it. But anyway, we need to go. What would be your message to constituents, to people who are watching us now? And in fact, because when you even become the parliamentary candidate, you'd be advocating the position of the NDC.
Yeah.
What would you want to leave Ghanaians with?
So we'll start first off with the delegates who are our party executives in the Dominicana constituency, the ward coordinators, the constituency executives, region, national. We've just started the process. We're yet to go to do our filing.
Yes.
We've just picked the forms. Endorsement processes are going on, ensuring that people are up to date according to the guidelines of the party. We'll go for vetting, and then when you pass through, you start your main campaign.
There are those who are crying over the the nomination fees already. I don't know, economic hardship and all of that.
Well, for those who are crying,
you have the money.
It's not an issue of having the money. It's about how you see things, because I think that every money we put in is to help the party.
The feeling is this is a party in opposition. You shouldn't be creating too many barriers for persons who may want to run to represent the party now.
In my personal opinion, I don't think they're creating barriers because parties are supposed to be run with resources. We are in opposition. We're supposed to help our party. And I know that this money we're paying is not going into any individual's pocket. It's going to help the party work. So why should I have a problem with it? I'm okay with it. It's not like I have the money. Because of that, you don't have a problem with it. But you are coming in to contest on the ticket of a party. You're supposed to be leading the charge. You're supposed to be bringing resources together, finding people. So if you're already crying about your filing fee, then your campaign is in trouble.
Okay, I see. The presidential level, it's come up, of course, there are factions within your party.
Yeah.
Some taking sides, some saying, well, let's go for a new face. Some saying, let's retain John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah.
Are you aligned?
Yes, we're into politics. Everybody has an opinion. You should have an opinion. You cannot say you're neutral.
Yeah.
You'd be a hypocrite to say that. At the same time, what I would not do is to run anybody down, because I know what it takes to actually put together resources to support the party. Everybody you're seeing who has come up has been a party faithful. They've been supporting the party since. But today, if you ask me, in my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for Dominic Kwabena, but in my personal opinion, I think we should allow John Mahama to go.
Because?
Because John has been there, he has shown, and over the last 4 years, even after elections, he has been the man on the ground, just like Israel Suli, supporting party activities, making sure things are happening. And I think that he's a man the MPP fears at the moment. And why start? I think we should go with that card.
Yeah, but you've heard, and of course, just before you came in, from Dr. Dufo, who says, well, I'll transform the economy within 2 years. Your party says you'd have to put your best foot forward. I recall speaking to the General Secretary of the party. He says that's the reason for which we're, for instance, doing some changes in Parliament, so we get the finance brains ahead. Why not do that at the presidential level?
So the party has gone through a number of changes, even with the National Executive Committee and all that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just changing everything completely. I belong to a constituency. We had executives. My chairman was retained. It was not changed because we just need to change everybody. If John is the one to do the job, let's allow John to do it. Okay.
And to residents of Dominic Kwabena?
To the residents of Dominic Kwabena, the people who want some shout-outs, yes.
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, regards to the Constituency Executive Committee, and then the ward coordinators, the delegates, we have about 3,200 delegates.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's who we're having to deal with. Now, today, in Dominic Kwabena, this cry for Israel to come back is coming from the grassroots, because they believe I'm the root of the grassroots, because I've been with them. I never stopped working, even after I lost. I did everything I could. I would want to salute them for everything they've been doing so far, and I would want to encourage them to keep pushing, because victory is ours in 2024. And then going forward into these primaries, I trust their judgments. I know what we're doing on the ground. I know the response we're getting. And I believe that they also agree with me that Israel Kokumensa Susuli is the man to help snatch the seat. Mind you, going into a tough terrain like you have described, constituency, if you have to snatch the seat, you need to do it one time. There's no time for any games. Israel is the man who has collaborated with everybody. I do not segregate or...
Oh, you embrace everyone?
I embrace everybody, and everybody knows it in the constituency. Whether you voted me in or out. In the 2019 primaries, I've worked with everybody, the constituency executives, everybody. Yeah. And because that's what we need. Everybody needs to brighten their little corner. Together we can deliver the seat for our constituency and the NDC. Because we are the largest. Our contribution is paramount in the 2024 election. So we cannot disappoint.
Do you have a target for in terms of the quota you'd want to contribute to the NDC in the next elections?
Yes, we have a target. We will not put that out here, but I'm sure that we would want to at least, if not double, approach that. What we received or what we got in 2019.
Okay, I see. I'm just tempted to relocate and be in the Dominic Kwabena area for the 2024 election. It will be an interesting contest to watch.
In all honesty,
from all sides, NDC and NPP.
Dominic Kwabena is a place to be from now into 2024.
Amazing.
All eyes should be on Dominic Kwabena. And for those who are watching us, the stories that come out about Dominic Kwabena, a few of the times, sound negative, but if you come to NDC, Dominic Kwabena is one of the best organized, constituencies. We've had everything running smoothly. We have the resources. It's about time we just get people who put them together, make sure people know what they're supposed to be doing, the direction, and pretty much that's even the job of the MP as well. So if you have a candidate who is already doing this, then that's the candidate you should be pushing forward.
Okay then, we'll wait to see what will happen. Israel Susuli, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. That's it.
On The Pulse. And don't forget that we have a special package coming up for you in our hotline documentary. Of course, we know that at the start of this government, there was a promise for one district, one factory. But JoyNews is learning that it's becoming one district, some factories. Here are excerpts.
The incorporation was done in 2014, October, but the actual operation started in 2015 in terms of the land development and then the construction of a dam. This took us up to early 2018 when the government policy of 1D, 1F came into effect. And then we did a proposal which ended up in the Exim Bank for a new factory to be built, which has been completed as we speak.
Ebenezer Obin-Bafo is the Chief Executive Officer of CHRAJ Europa, a factory established under the government's One District, One Factory project. The company was established to process the fresh roots of the orange flesh sweet potato. These potatoes are turned into flour, which is used to make bread and other pastries.
CHRAJ Europa is not producing, and the reason is lack of cash. In October 2018, the funding stopped. At that time, almost 50% of the funds has been released by the Exim Bank of Ghana. But unfortunately, it stopped. It took the bank a whole year, up to October 2019, with the intervention of the board, including the board chairman, who paid a visit to the factory at that time in October 2019, and realizing where we were, we could finish it up. Then an order was made for the funds to be released. Thank God the funds were released immediately. I think 2 weeks after the board visit, we got the needed fund. By that time, there was a cost overrun, but we were bent on completing the factory. So we made Exim Bank aware that we will finish the factory on time. Thank God by 2020, between March and May, the factory, as you see it today, has been completed.
Petersfield and Ray Limited is a manufacturing company under the One District, One Factory, established in 2018. It was established to produce high-quality natural fruit juice.
We started building this factory way back in 2014, and with the help of Exim Bank, we were able to complete it in the year 2018, and also we needed some form of more capital to make our operations functional and also profitable. They even sent some experts to come and see our needs, then report back to Exim Bank. But nothing has been heard from them since, I think it was about 2 years ago. Today is 27th. They're expected to be paid by the end of the month. I don't know where I'm going to conjure the cash to pay them. Fuel bills have built up. Electricity came to disconnect just this afternoon. I had to go into my own resources to go and pay for them to reconnect the electricity. I don't know.
And we know that the process is leading to, before, during, and after the preparation of the local dish for food can be very tiring. But there's technology being introduced to make it an easy task. Kwesi Deborah has the latest in our Tech Thursday edition.
The classic sound in many Ghanaian homes, loved by elders and children, but particularly cacophonous to young men. With tens of hits to achieve a soft swallow, food pounding is laborious, not to talk about the corns that mark the palms.
fuwa ya fa because wo fuwa na ube unse ni pa corona o wono ono obenya kititi bia di it is sometimes go wo fuwa na wa jana ko back to wo ya wo fuwa unse ni na.
But with the wide commercialization of the delicacy and advent of pacey lifestyle, a fast fufu became crucial. Ghanaian engineers in 2004 came up with a fufu pounding machine. First by Charles Fajinom, and later KNUST researchers. Because the engineers wanted to make the machine culturally acceptable, the shaft which turned the fufu was made from wood. However, the wooden shaft's vulnerability made it unsustainable.
No more fufu, no say. So be a fufu akofa waduro no afa woma. Nti machine buy no nim say bia ne be safety ani ne betumi afa banche ne board ye no ententem. Nti no mu use dua but omu use dua na say edua ni mudi na etwafa machine ho a aduane ni ntimi encontem.
This is what happened. The shaft, carved from cedar wood, couldn't withstand the moisture in the food over time. This resulted in the breaking down of the wooden shaft, causing some of the wood pieces to find their way into the fufu. Again, the threaded hole wore off easily, making rotation impossible. The developers then thought of a permanent solution: an old metal. Now, the engineers at Swam Magazine have resorted to aluminium.
The shaft alumi. The use aluminium man. The use aluminium man. So no problem bia.
Apart from the shaft, the frame has also been reviewed. This is an old frame of the fufu pounding machine, made entirely from 20 feet of angle iron. And here is a new frame of the fufu pounding machine, made from 16 feet of angle iron. This is bigger and heavy, and that is smaller and portable. That is not all. The developers have added a ring at the base of the hole where the shaft fits to prevent the fufu from spilling. Baba Sika is the brain behind this innovation.
The way we have said protect the Emma, I know about Tinky, which I know say, and they are now good sense.
Tim. This is a shaft of the fufu pounding machine made entirely of aluminium. It can last you for about 2 to 5 years. But we all know the health implications of aluminium. Is it possible that this can be made entirely of stainless steel? I know, engineers are up to the task. Enjoy your fufu. My name is Emmanuel Kwesi-Debra for JoyNews.
Fascinating piece of device there. You might want, of course, to get one for yourself. But growing up, we've heard the expression abrochiri or ablochi in Ebe. But of course, many of you have been wondering why it's related to those who travel abroad or overseas, as you may want to term it. Well, my colleague Kojayan Sin in our Heritage and Ghana Month series has been finding out more.
Slavery is a dark stain on Ghana's history. All along the country's coast, European colonizers built forts and castles as trading posts where they could buy slaves from local tribes and ship them off to the Caribbean islands, from where they would never return. Many of these stone edifices are still standing today, but like all historical buildings, the attraction is not the aging structure and the crumbling walls. It's the haunting stories they tell. On today's episode, we bring you perhaps the most haunting of all slave stories. Come with me to Keta in the Volta region, to the last Ghanaian fort on the way to Togo.
Welcome to Fort Prinsenstein.
Under the care of the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, Fort Prinsenstein, or what is left of it, receives daily visitors from around the world. But there is something unique about the role this particular fort played in Ghana's sordid slavery story. Therefore, our colleague knows all about it.
This tool was taken from the chiefs. You know, when they came here, they sought permission from the chiefs. And when they are putting up the fort, they realized that they are converting the fort into a slave post. So our people stood against them. Toby Degeni said no, they will not allow them to continue the building. So Toby Degeni was killed. That made our people move from here to where they are now, Agbosuma. And that's why they celebrate the Kata Soma Tutuzan over there.
So the people of Agbosuma
yeah.
were originally here.
Exactly.
And the Danes killed the chief
and
sacked the people and kept the stool.
Yeah, they took the stool from the palace and it has been kept over here. So that the people of Agbosuma spotted the Danish governor along the coast of Hedan or Denu. So he was captured. And so they make him the idol over there in the back of the Denu market. So when you go to the back of the Denu market, you see some big idol. It contained the remains of the Danish governor at that time.
So when he was captured, he never made it back here?
No,
they killed him there?
They killed him. Because he was the one who killed their chief.
That's fascinating.
When they buy the slaves were taken across the Atlantic. And those slaves never come back. And our people start calling those from outside, they are from Abluchimini, Oblo, Ovachi, meaning they have deceived them by taking them there without coming back.
Oblo,
Ovachi.
And that's where the Abluchi came from.
Yeah.
You see, that actually makes more sense than the explanation that we, the Akans, have for the word Abluchi. Where you hear people say Abronechi or whatever. This makes more sense. Oblo, Ovachi. So you deceived us, and they will never return.
Exactly. And those are the chains you can see over there. We used to chain their neck, their leg in those days. And also they realized that some of our forefathers, you know, people from Togo, they have powers. They lean on the wall. They will just incastate some words and vanish. So they put mercury in between the walls.
And that stops them from doing that.
Exactly. That was the antidote at that time. So those who attempted got stuck. That's why the sea was destroying the fort. You can see human remains in the wall of the fort. And up to today, when you are in the fort, you can hear a screaming, loud screaming. When you come here, you will not see anything. You can hear a screaming. Yes, that's why we stay outside the fort.
Yeah,
you will not see anything. So you have to call on the traditional authorities to come and do what they have been doing before we came here.
They chain you, they shackle you to a stranger, and you are standing in some 10 square inches of space, struggling for air, boiling under the heat, rubbing against the skins of other sweating men. The one thing that you need to sustain your life is water. And the only way to get water is when your slave masters pour it onto the ground. Then you fight your fellow 200 men to lick this off the ground, just so you can survive long enough and stay strong enough for them to illegally sell you to some white men who will make you work in their sugarcane fields for the rest of your life. You see, the reason why this thing is striking me so hard is because, look, even when you are broke to the point where you don't even have one cedi, one cowrie shell, you still own your life. You can never be so broke that you don't own your life. But somehow slave trade created a situation where even your life doesn't belong to you. And long after humanity decided that that act was too cruel to continue, here in Prinsenstein, it did not stop.
I still have mixed feelings about today's adventure. It's left me with a strange feeling, one I know I'll never forget. Until fairly recently, this walk I'm taking now would still have been within the walls of the fort. Half of that fort is now lost to the sea, just like half of the slaves that set sail from here. But the whole of its history remains forever, never to be forgotten, just as my memories of today will remain with me forever.
Well, that's all we have for you here on The Pulse. I am Blessed Sogah. You might want to log on to myjoyonline.com. We have lots of stories there for you. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now.